Have you ever wanted to learn a new language quickly and effectively? Imagine being able to converse with locals while traveling, or even better, reading literature in its original form. It's a dream many of us share, yet it often seems like a daunting task. The strange sounds, the unfamiliar grammar, the endless vocabulary. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, but here's the good news. Learning a new language doesn't have to be a Herculean task. With the right approach, it can be a fun and rewarding journey. This video is all about that, providing you with a tried and tested method to learn any language efficiently. We're going to tackle the common obstacles, simplify the process, and most importantly, make it enjoyable. So if you've ever felt that burning desire to speak another tongue, this is your golden opportunity. If you're ready to take on the challenge, stick with us as we delve into the fascinating process of language learning. First things first, to learn a language effectively, it's crucial to understand your learning style. In the world of education, there are typically three main learning styles to consider: auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. Each of us tends to lean towards one or a mix of these styles, and understanding which one resonates with you can significantly enhance your language learning journey. Let's start with auditory learners. If you're someone who absorbs information best when it's spoken or sung, you might be an auditory learner. You might find that you remember song lyrics easily, or that you can recall conversations verbatim. In language learning, listening to podcasts, songs, and dialogues in your target language can be incredibly beneficial for you. Next up, we have visual learners. If you're someone who remembers things better when you can see them, you might be a visual learner. You might find that you remember faces, but forget names, or that diagrams and infographics make learning easier for you. For visual learners, flashcards, language apps with images, and films or videos in your target language can be a great help. Last but not least, we have kinesthetic learners. If you're someone who learns best by doing, touching, or moving, you might be a kinesthetic learner. You might find that you remember things better if you write them down, or if you can associate a physical activity with them. In language learning, writing out vocabulary, using physical flashcards, or even role-playing dialogues can be beneficial. Identifying your learning style isn't about limiting yourself to one method of learning. It's about understanding your strengths and leveraging them to make the most of your language learning journey. It's about finding what works for you and using it to your advantage. So, take a moment to reflect on how you learn best. Are you an auditory, visual, or kinesthetic learner, or perhaps a mix of these? Once you've identified your learning style, you're one step closer to mastering a new language. With your learning style in mind, it's time to choose the right resources. In this digital age, we're spoiled for choice when it comes to language learning resources. There are online courses, language learning apps, books, podcasts, and the list goes on. But remember, it's not about quantity, it's about quality and suitability to your personal learning style. Online courses are a popular choice, offering structured lessons that often combine text, audio, and video elements. If you're an auditory learner, you might find that these interactive courses, which often include pronunciation exercises and dialogue practice, work well for you. For the visual learners out there, language learning apps are a fantastic resource. They typically incorporate a lot of imagery and visual cues to help you remember new vocabulary and grammatical structures. And the best part? You can learn on the go whenever you have a few spare minutes. Books, on the other hand, appeal to those who enjoy a more traditional, text-based approach. Language learning books range from grammar guides to bilingual storybooks. If you're a reading-writing learner, you might find that studying grammar rules and vocabulary lists from a book helps cement the information in your mind. Don't forget about podcasts and language exchange platforms. Podcasts are an excellent resource for auditory learners, helping you tune your ear to the rhythms and sounds of your chosen language. Language exchange platforms, meanwhile, connect you with native speakers for practice sessions, which can be particularly beneficial for kinesthetic learners who learn best through hands-on, interactive experiences. So how do you choose the right resources? Well, it's about understanding what works best for you. Are you a visual learner who benefits from images and diagrams? Or perhaps you're an auditory learner who absorbs information through listening. Maybe you learn best through reading and writing, or by getting hands-on and practicing your skills in real-world situations. Whatever your learning style, there's a resource out there that aligns with it. And remember, it's completely fine to mix and match resources. You might find that a combination of apps, books, and real-world practice is your ticket to success. Choosing resources that match your learning style will make your language learning journey much more enjoyable and effective. Next, immerse yourself in the language as much as possible. This is a phrase you've probably heard before, and that's because it's true. Immersion is a vital component of successful language learning. So, let's dive into why immersion is so important and how you can create an immersive language learning environment even if you're at home or online. Immersion, in the context of language learning, means surrounding yourself with the language you're trying to learn. It's like taking a plunge into a pool filled with the language, where every stroke and kick propels you into a deeper understanding of it. When you're immersed in a language, it's not just about studying grammar and vocabulary, it's about living the language. It's about hearing it, speaking it, reading it, and even thinking in it. Now you might be thinking, sure, that sounds great, but how can I immerse myself in a language if I can't travel to a country where it's spoken? Good news! With the digital world at your fingertips, you can create your own immersive environment without leaving your living room. Firstly, start by changing the language settings on your devices. This might seem daunting at first, but it's a great way to pick up new vocabulary and get used to the language's structure. Secondly, consume media in your target language. Watch movies, listen to music or podcasts, read books or news articles. The internet is chock full of resources in virtually any language. Thirdly, practice speaking. Find language exchange partners online or join language learning communities. You could even talk to yourself in your target language. It might feel a bit silly, but it's a fantastic way to practice. Lastly, think in your target language. This one might be a bit trickier, but it's a powerful tool for language acquisition. Try narrating your day or your thoughts in your target language. This will help you to internalize the language and make it a part of your daily life. Remember, the more you immerse yourself in the language, the quicker you'll learn. So, take the plunge and start immersing yourself today. Now, the golden rule of language learning: practice, practice, practice. This is not just a catchy phrase, but the cornerstone of any successful language journey. Without practice, all the resources and immersion techniques in the world won't help you reach fluency. Let's think about learning a language as building a muscle. You wouldn't expect to become a bodybuilder overnight, would you? It takes regular workouts and a steady diet of protein to build those biceps. Similarly, your language skills need regular exercise and a steady diet of new words, phrases, and grammatical structures. So how can you integrate language practice into your daily life? Well, there are several ways. For starters, consider practicing with native speakers. If you're learning Spanish, for example, try to find a language exchange partner from Spain or Latin America. This will not only give you a chance to practice speaking, but also to hear the language as it's naturally spoken. Using language learning apps is another great way to practice. Many of these apps are designed to make learning fun and interactive. They offer games, quizzes, and challenges that can help you strengthen your vocabulary and grammar skills. Moreover, don't restrict your practice to formal settings. Try to use the language in your everyday life. Label household items in your target language, talk to your pet in French, or narrate your daily activities in Italian. The more you use the language, the more comfortable you'll become with it. Remember, consistency is key here. It's better to practice for 15 minutes every day than for 2 hours once a week. Regular, short bursts of language learning are more effective than long, infrequent sessions. And don't be afraid of making mistakes. They're an essential part of the learning process. Each mistake is an opportunity to improve, to understand better, and to become a more proficient speaker. In conclusion, practice isn't just part of language learning, it's the heart of it. So, keep practicing, keep speaking, keep listening, and most importantly, keep learning. Regular practice is the key to mastering a new language. So, what have we learned about quick and effective language learning? A lot, actually. We've discovered that the first step is understanding your unique learning style. Are you a visual learner, or do you absorb information better through hearing or doing? Next, we tackled the importance of choosing the right resources. Whether it's a language learning app, a good old-fashioned textbook, or a tutor, the key is to choose resources that align with your learning style and goals. We then explored the power of immersion. Surrounding yourself with the language, whether physically or virtually, can significantly speed up the learning process. Last, but certainly not least, we stressed the importance of regular practice. Remember, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. By following these steps, you'll be well on your way to mastering a new language. Happy learning.